Yep.
Bill Starnes?
Yeah.
George Coons? Here. Hank is not here. And Robert Debris here. Fire Chief Steve Rose?
Here.
Thank you very much. You've got here for Budget Officer Bill. Did you want him to say something, Steve, or did you just?
Oh, yeah, you can do it if you want to.
I'm not quite-
Absolute roll call.
Oh, okay.
Basically, this is different than our board.
Mhm.
So normally, we'll do a little budget committee organization. It can be the president of this board can be a civilian or a board member,
Okay.
or, and the vice president, you know, somebody to be a second in case somebody misses a meeting. And then the secretary, Risa looks like she's already went in, that's for the secretary job.
I volunteer.
So you guys need to figure that out. You can, in the past, it's been the board president, in the past, it's been members of the board, if somebody really wanted to do it. Somebody that's a good mover and shaker for a meeting, that's a good thing to have, whoever it is.
So someone on the Budget Committee to be the president?
Yeah, anybody on the committee can be it. And so the budget committee is all 10 people, 5 of them are citizens and 5 of them are the board members. We remember that it's got to be a 6-4 vote to approve the budget. There's no ties, nobody breaks ties. That's some of the rules.
Question? On the roll call, since this is a budget committee meeting, shouldn't it be a roll call of all 10 committee members?
I can do that. Okay, and I don't know all of them, so forgive me for that. Larry Albertson?
Right here.
Okay, thank you. Ken Bronser?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Jerry Harris, I know.
Yes.
Thank you, Jerry. Karen? Thank you. And Mary McCray?
Yeah.
Thank you. Does anybody want to volunteer to be the president of the budget committee? Pardon me, Bill?
Step right up.
You're doing fine.
I will take that responsibility. So,
Is that volunteering or volunteer?
well, I think it's pretty much unanimous.
Since no one else is stepping forward. Who wants to be vice president?
Vice president? I'd like someone from the board so we can work off
I'll
both
work
sides. You want to do that? Or, I mean, I'm sorry, okay, that's fine. And so that'd be Bill will be the vice president, and the secretary,
Me.
Risa? Okay, thank you. And how about, is ground rule the position?
Well, the ground rules, I wanted you guys to set some of those up. We have I think we put public input on here later in the meeting. There's different ways to do it, like our budget's broke up into 4 general areas, so we could have public input after each area or after the whole, go through the whole thing. I wanted to say that we have a lot of new people on this committee this year, including only 2 board members since the other one didn't show, but I wanted to use this as a educational type thing too, as far as where our money comes and all that. So I want to run through this tonight. I don't want to be here past 9 o'clock though, and I don't in any way want this to be forced to be done in one meeting,
Correct.
okay?
Yeah, it's a workable piece,
And
as long as we all have to come to the same agreements.
yes, ma'am.
I just think it's easier for people to be able to ask questions as we go though.
Okay.
Because if you try to hold off until later, you forgot your thought.
Yeah, and that's that's your guys' committee, what you guys want to do about it. It's not mine. Just remember, ground rules, I'm not a member of the committee. All I did was prepare this document, and I theoretically just present it tonight, I'm done.
Okay.
And I try to answer your questions.
So are we going to agree to the questions will be answered when he submits that part of the budget?
Yeah, there's still the 2-minute,
Okay.
the 2-minute.
Perfect. I think that'll work.
Does everybody know where the bathroom is? And we have water, hot tea, coffee, if anybody wants anything. Since you guys are all interested enough to be here tonight.
I think for the donuts.
No donuts.
Okay. May I ask a question regarding what you just said, Steve? You said you are not a member of the committee, so after tonight, you're done. But
Oh, I'm done after the budget. After the budget is
It's not done.
approved, because I'm
Okay.
usually here just to, I prepared it, so I'm gonna go through it
Right, but
and
the
present it.
committee has a number of things to do in reviewing the budget.
Right.
And we have maybe a couple people here from the board who are, I guess, more or less familiar with the process, but I'm wondering if you're the most familiar perhaps, and especially with the new laws, if it would be worthwhile, if we have additional meetings, if you could be here as an
Oh, yeah,
advisor.
I'll come each week. And then I'll be doing as we update this budget, I'll be doing the updates and bringing it back or whatever we want to do.
Okay.
Steve, may I get another budget calendar for your short one, please? Thank you. Now, I'm just gonna ask questions, as this is my first time at this. So for the board, both sides of the boards, I presume will have to approve the budget calendar?
Yeah,
Okay.
and basically you guys are all one committee from now on, so the board and the citizens are all one. You're all just 10 or 9 people now.
So we're
But
all,
you still have to have 6 to have a majority.
okay, okay. So basically, we're, 1 through 4 is already done. 5 actually is done to a certain extent. So we're just gonna approve 5 through 11.
Okay, so on number 5, the the calendar was just a draft, and we put it out, and we talked about it last week. But is next Monday good, or does anybody have a problem, or the next Monday after that, or we want to wait 2 weeks and evaluate the budget more, or what do you want to do?
Well, we haven't seen it yet.
Exactly.
Yeah, it probably just depends on how much
Okay.
everybody agrees or disagrees
So
on.
as long as we know that when we leave, and then if it's next week, we have to notice the budget. We don't have to publish it anymore, as long as it's on the website.
I have a question about that, and maybe you could help me here, okay, because it's on the website, I know. But I have noticed that in the paper, in Legals, even though they list their webpage in, like Winston Dillard, for instance, lists their webpage in their big publication for their budget meetings, they're still putting the notices in.
I noticed that, and
So-
no pun intended. Yeah.
I got it.
So it's fine.
Every year, the state sends out the new law. This is it for 15, 16, and you don't have to. So people are doing it because they used to do it.
Okay,
And
just to
so-
be in compliance,
And if we do it tonight, then that means we need to have it 5 days. So that means like tomorrow, it would have to get on for next week. By, say, Tuesday, it has to be on the web.
and hopefully in my.
And we'll put it on the web tomorrow.
Right, then that should be okay. Okay.
Budget.
I don't think that it's a good idea to have a budget meeting the same week that we're having an internal meeting.
Okay.
What do you think?
Yeah, but May 4th wouldn't.
Yeah, next week isn't, the week
Yeah,
after
May
is.
4th wouldn't, but May 11th would, so,
Yeah,
What do you guys think?
yeah, I agree. May
That's
4th would be
fine.
yeah,
okay.
May 4th, but if we,
Mhm.
yeah, we can do it
Next
May
week, is
4th.
that all right with you?
Yes, May 4th.
Good.
And it'll be at 7 PM again, same location.
Mhm.
Let's see, let's see.
You would need to vote on this acceptance of the budget calendar.
Yes. Is everybody okay, or anybody have any questions on the budget calendar?
Yes, Mary Gill?
Go ahead, Jerry.
I believe I heard George say it would not be a good idea for us to have a meeting the same week that we have the board meeting.
Correct.
So does that mean we're going to delete from this calendar the May 11th
We're
date?
gonna go with the 4th,
Right.
Mhm.
yes, and we'll take the 11th off, and need be, we'll do
Okay,
it the following
so
Monday.
we'll need to put up, once we approve it, I can put up a revised calendar on the website.
Correct.
Mhm.
Okay.
That would be the 18th, I believe?
Yes,
Yeah,
if we need
if
it,
need be,
yeah.
May 18th. from either board have any questions on the budget?
The calendar,
Time of the calendar, yes. Everybody's good? I'll entertain a motion to approve the budget calendar for 15-16, if nobody has a motion. Okay,
I'll second.
okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All good? Mary, you okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. And you, sir, Al, I believe? All right. Larry Albertson, good with the calendar?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so the budget calendar is approved.
Do you need some glasses?
I got this one.
I mean, we have, look, we have an extra pair of reading glasses in the car if you really want.
I'm good. I can see this one. Those must be my driving glasses. I should have them.
He's on the trombone.
Okay, so this is the budget message I'm presenting, okay? It looks like some of the stuff's the same as last year. So this is a proposed budget for LRFD for fiscal year 2015-16. It's hereby submitted to the budget committee. It shows resources and expenditures based on historical data and also on some estimations of next year and then on planned operations. As a result of Measure 50, the taxable assessed valuation is limited to a maximum 3% increase post-1997. Additionally, taxable assessed value will not exceed real market value. And I want to discuss that a little bit more after we're done with this. The tax base for 2015-16 budget will be based on expected 1% growth in taxable valuation of the district. The county assessor is estimating a 3% increase, but we'll talk about the 1% and I'll tell you why we did that. The district realized a one-time increase in resources entering this fiscal year when the former fire station property sold. There's been a deposit of approximately $16,370 made to our general fund. The mortgage payoff will result in a decrease of approximately $4,500 a year in our future revenue. That revenue has been shown on all past budgets, and it won't show on this budget anymore. So that's a one-time windfall, and I guess it's good. I mean, we guaranteed we got the money. We're losing out on interest. That was getting us about $1,000 interest a year because we were doing this at 6%, but that's all right. So the proposed budget that I have written here includes funds to continue maintenance of the parking lot, provide electrical reels to the vehicles for safety, install plumbing for a PPE washroom, purchase a Type 6 quick attack fire truck, and partially fund the startup of the junior firefighter program. These costs will be subject to committee approval and then the final evaluation of bids and cost-benefit analysis by the board. Materials and labor supplied by the county and volunteers may reduce these costs. And again, anything over $500 has to be approved by the board before you guys ever make a decision. So,
I don't see on your list the SCBA's. Aren't we going to budget for that to replace them?
not this year. We're looking at probably 2021 on in the next few years.
Oh, okay, so they're, okay, good. I'm crossing out on this.
I'll be going for a FEMA grant a couple of years on those.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
Can you explain for unknowledgeable people like me what a PPE washroom is?
That's personal protective equipment. So we've been talking about, right now we have an agreement with Douglas too that we'll be washing our PPE over at the fire station in Melrose. And we actually had money budgeted this fiscal year to bring in a washing machine and plumbing. I haven't got to that yet this year. Yes, sir.
okay, my other list that I was bringing was, I thought we were going to remodel for ADA compliance.
Yeah, that's in the budget down below.
Okay.
That's a lower, I'll talk about that later on.
Okay,
That should be something we should be able to do through facility maintenance, not a capital project.
okay.
A new budget format was provided last year by the budget advisor. It includes a general fund, equipment reserve fund, and a grant fund. This simplifies the budgeting process while meeting or exceeding all department revenue requirements. And the final thing was the district will continue to be required to submit an official audit or in lieu of financial statement to the offices of the Secretary of State. And that's all based on district revenue and budgeting. If we go over $150,000, we have to do a full-blown audit, which means those expenses increase. The only way we're gonna go over 150,000 is if we get the FEMA grant. That's gonna put us over, we're gonna have to do a full audit. Depending on when if it does come, it may come before the end of this fiscal year, that means we'll have to get an auditor in June. Got that.
I have a question on your
Yes.
type 6 quick attack fire truck. What would that look like?
Good question. I've got 2 pictures outside for you.
Have we seen that one already?
I haven't sitting out there on the, we're still not down to the final specs. I can tell you the FEMA grant usually starts coming out around May 2nd, I think, is the date that they're saying this year. And how they do it is they have a certain amount of money that's funded. They start at the top of their list and start just handing out money. And it may go through June, July, August, how far down the list people are. Or we may not get any at all. We're not. So this type 6 we're designing is to replace the 1080 out here. It's gonna have 400 gallons of water and be a combination wildland and quick attack for structure fires. And the reason was for access problems we have in our area. We have some areas that are past bridges that our vehicles can't go over. So these bridges don't meet all the standards and stuff, but the problem is that they do exist.
And these would go over some of the bridges?
Right, because they're less than 40,000 pounds. It might be 19,000 pounds or something.
Because some people have the bikini bridges. don't they?
Yeah.
This is
Well, that's to pick up about 400 gallons of water.
basically just
It's
like a crew cab.
Steve, does that truck have foam?
Yes, you'll have 10 gallons of plastic
Third one's
foam
back.
that'll mix in. That's a 1%. Actually, it's about 2% mix in that thing, which is it helps knock down on it helps knock down on
Please,
Yes, sir.
I have a question. You said that the truck that you're proposing to purchase is only gonna have 400 gallons. Sure, that's gonna be enough for fighting a structure fire on a quick attack?
400 gallons is a requirement for the first 5 minutes of a quick attack. What we're doing is try to make something that'll go across bridges, George. If I go any more than water, how much water weighs?
What's wrong with this unit? This is a 600 gallon unit. It would seem to me this would be the more appropriate one for our district.
Does it have a crew cab for 4 people?
You can put 4 people in there.
It's an extended cab.
Okay, well, I'd be interested in looking at it, George.
Well, I think we should.
Okay. What's the GVW and everything on that? My problem has been going over 400 gallons with 4 people that you approach it's a 19.5 GVW to have an F550. Once we go from there, then we're going to a regular fire truck, and then we're right back to the same problem we have right now.
I don't think this is gonna be as heavy as a fire truck. And it
Well, I'll
doesn't,
tell you what, let me have it. I'll call them and ask them how much it weighs, and we'll figure all that out, how the GVW works.
I'll give you one copy before I leave.
Okay.
All right.
One other question I have is, does 10 Mile and like the Lincoln, do they have a pump track or
10 Mile has, they have upgraded their wildland unit to what they call a monitor unit, and it'll do the same thing as this.
Okay.
It has less amount of water, but it has a ability to, if we can get a hose to it, it can actually, the pump is bigger, so it can handle that much water to provide more hand runs and stuff. We can do the same thing on this just by the way we
This
set
will
it.
go on the hills and then.
Right, it's 4-wheel drive. Right. It's the same, it's a little bit bigger, it's the same size as a
Yeah.
F550 dually. So, I can't get much smaller than that.
Did you say that was a crew cab?
Yeah.
That one's a crew cab, that's a 2-door?
This one's a 4-door. If we're gonna, this is gonna entail changing some procedures for us. By the address, as we go on a call, we're gonna have to say, hey, our structure engine's not going first. We're gonna have to take this, and maybe 70 has extra SCBA's on it, and I'm gonna put 2 SCBA's on this. So when we get on scene, we'll have a crew of 8 with 4 SCBA's, enough people to man 2 hose lines. I plan to have just basic structural stuff, force quench equipment, a small extension ladder that we can do initial work with before we can get some kind of water supply in to back us up. And I'd have to call 10 Mile and Camas and Winston and tell them to bring those units also. I can tell you what's going on in our surrounding area, and I'm not comfortable with it at all. Winston parks their vehicle on the outside part of the bridge and walks to the house to see what's going on. I don't think that's appropriate. You know how far, some of these houses are a long way. Young Calla says, Young Calla, Myrtle Creek, they won't respond, they won't go across the bridge, pure and simple. They tell the people, they call their insurance company and tell them, these people are a 10, we cannot respond, they have no fire protection past that bridge. I'm not comfortable with that either. What I'm trying to do is take care of the problem the best I can. And this will also be a better wildland unit. It'll let us sit out there longer.
What size pump are you gonna be asking to put on this? To me, it looks like we're just upgrading from a slide-in that we originally had, which is insufficient as far as I'm concerned.
Exactly. That should have the pump information in the back. We're going to a water, so it's a 210 GPM, which will allow us to flow 2 90 GPM hose lines, which is a normal attack line for a structure fire. And then we're upgrading, we were going to go for a Kubota diesel around 30 horse that will push that water, or else a Honda, I think it's a 26 horse that they designed for one.
What's the pump outlet?
There's a 2.5 or 2.5" and then also 1 inch for the reel. So we'll have 2 1.5" capability of doing 2.5" at 90 gallons per minute per hand line. Yes.
So when you put in for the grant, you put in for the, like the most expensive, let's put it that way?
Right,
And we're working from that.
right.
Okay.
There's options on this already. For example, this is diesel with a diesel Kubota pump. Actually, that picture you're holding in your hand is
This one?
that is a gas. It's a V10 with a Honda engine. That'll drop the price probably $11,000 or $12,000 because the diesel option's $8,000. I was trying to go to a diesel fleet. After talking with Southern Oregon Diesel up there when we were doing our service up there, the guy said, well, you have to look, if your vehicle's going to sit here a lot all year, it's going to be idling a lot on scene and all that kind of stuff, but diesel might not be the way to go. It might be better to go gas. So I'd go by what money we have available, basically, and then they have to go that, yeah.
I don't think we're hurting for money.
No, I don't think so either. I
You
think
know,
we have money in a reserve.
And if the grant comes through, we don't need to worry about that at all.
Right.
And that's why I'm kind of concerned that we should get as many of the people in the district to be covered, if we can at all possibly cover them. And I think this truck here will cover it better than the one that you have earmarked.
Really? I disagree with your opinion, but if the board would vote that way, that's fine.
Well, show me, where I'm wrong.
Well, first of all, I need to know the weight of that thing, I need to know the
Okay.
pump on it, I need to know all that kind of stuff.
Well,
Those are all
I
factors.
think we can look at that.
And I'm not real comfortable about using extended cab, because I'm trying to get a crew of 4 people and their turnouts with breathing apparatus in that cab, and it's not, I don't think an extended cab, I have an extended cab myself, but
Well, couldn't you send a regular rig to assist one that goes up the hill? Because you're gonna be pumping up the hill anyway, aren't you? You're not gonna put out a fire with either 400 or 600 gallons.
the reason we're getting this is we have no capability right now other than 200 gallons on that truck.
Right.
And I'm trying to do something. If I can make a quick attack, make sure that I don't have a rescue problem, the people's house may burn. If they don't provide a bridge that I can get my vehicles across at the required vehicles we have, then, I can't do anything else about it,
Can we bring these trucks up after we get the specs and we can just go apple for apple?
Yeah.
Because right now, we're just
Right
using,
now,
yeah, I think if we got
Okay.
specs on both of them, it'd be better for everybody.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, sounds good. All right, so, everybody doesn't have, here's a copy of the budget for everybody. we don't want to see up there.
I see the budget.
That would help.
Yeah. Wait, can I get a copy of that too?
Yes. Can't write that all down.
I can't remember that fast.
Thank you. All right.
Check out some extras, let me make sure everybody here has one, and then, I'm gonna be posting some outside as required. I have some in the box, you guys want one? No? No? Okay, look on the screen. There you go. Now, to go along with that, the board chairman, board members here. This covers each category that we're gonna go through. When you're all done, if you don't mess them up, we can turn them over and use them for printing here at the station. Sure. Take it home. I got two more if you guys want some. It's a lot of paper. I'll go over each thing. So the first part is beginning fund balance. Right now, we have about $84,000 in our
Operating account?
General fund.
Yep.
in our account. And by the end of the year, I'm looking at, if you guys remember, we have bids out for tires right now that I'm going to ask you to approve at the next meeting. $1,850 for the painter who's supposed to start next week. A couple of those things. So I'm just guesstimating about 80,000. That's what we do. Okay. First of all, if you look back at 2014-15, and to the left here, these are all actuals. So those are the actuals that Susan Shepherd and our past auditors come up with. And whenever we do this, we show the budget for 2014-15 because it won't be finalized out till July. So, however, I know right now there's 80-some thousand in there, so we're starting off with 80,000 in the fund balance for the general fund, okay? Prior year taxes, we're setting up at 5,000. I'm setting up at 5,000 again. This year's prior year taxes, we're at 4,800 right now. We estimated 5,000 last year. We're probably not going to get any more. We might get $400 to $500 in taxes this year, between now and June 1st, which should be all right. So going over your sheet there on, last one.
Need one, Steve?
I got the paper somewhere. So going over your sheet on revenue. Douglas County estimates our assessed value goes up 3% a year. If every year they give us this little sheet like this, if you guys want to take a look at it. This is, in fact, this is online. It's the Douglas County Detail of Taxing District Levies. So this is for 2014. We don't have one for 15 yet. They just say it's 3%. So for example, last year they said our assessed value is $122,127,913, which should have brought us in $62,000 in taxes. We figured last year on the budget at 119. That on your justification sheet there, that one on the left is what the county said. We actually figured at 119. And our actual taxes we received so far is $55,323. So in other words, the county estimates about that we would have got $7,000 more than we got. And that has stayed pretty constant for the past, well, I went back about 80 years going back to it. So what's the reason why we don't get our 3% every year? Anybody know?
Somebody just paid the taxes.
Somebody doesn't pay their taxes. Well, what's the first thing? If you're a good taxpayer, what happens right off the bat?
You get a discount.
You get 3% discount right off the bat. And then somebody doesn't pay their taxes. If your assessed value has reached your relative market value, it doesn't go up anymore unless the relative market value goes up. And I suspect that in our area. That's happening on a lot of the old timers' houses around here. In fact, we're averaging about a 1% increase in tax revenue each year. And in the last couple of years, we've actually been less than that a couple times. In 2012-13, for some reason, we went way off the chart down below. I think that shows on your, it shows on the left column on your budget. We were down to $49,191, when we should have gotten probably $58,000. So I don't know what happened that year. But we got a lot of back taxes back out here too, so. So one thing that's happened this year is that we always used to estimate that 8% was uncollected taxes. That was historical in Douglas County. This year, they just sent out a new letter, it says it was 7%. So I changed that, so we only took a 7% off. So total tax revenue would be $58,263. We got prior year taxes of $5,000, I'm estimating, so our total revenue will be $63,263, which is about $3,000 more than what we had last year in tax revenue. Is there any questions on that? Let's go down to other revenue would be the next section on your budget, and it's also your next budget justification sheet. Sale of property, JP Mangrum, if you see that on our budget up here, it's been about $4,000 every year, $4,500. It doesn't show on your budget up on the screen, because these years before, we actually had it in a different account, because it was automatically deposited into the equipment reserve fund every year. So this year, that's showing 0. We have to carry, the things we don't use anymore, we have to carry for 3 years, showing zeros until they go off the left side of the budget here on the screen. That's it. So WOST is Western Oregon's, man, I had that pamphlet last year. It's a timber thing for taxes on private timber. We haven't got anything in the last 7 years, I think. If we had this huge increase in timber cutting, especially on private land, once they reach a certain threshold of production, we get a kickback of that. It's like a tax. So we keep carrying it, but there's nothing there. Interest earned is interest earned on our regular accounts, and this year right now we're about $38 or something, so I'm estimating 50 for next year. Out of tax, district tax billing, we're allowed to bill on state and county roads for traffic accidents. And so what our department has done is we don't bill residents of our district because they're already paying their taxes. So we bill people from out. I got a pending one right now for $650. It looks like it's gonna come in. This year, that was the first traffic accident that we had in our district that wasn't somebody that lived here. That was pretty interesting. That's not normal. So we're hoping, I'm not hoping that more people come in and crash the queue. That's a pretty good average. It seems like in the past, it's gone up, down, all around. Also, out of district billing, if you look at our map up there, anything that's outside the white squares, we still respond first in to a lot of areas up there, probably 40 to 50 dwellings. If it's something outside of district, we've been billed them for structural fire protection. If they chose not to annex with us back in the, when you were chief, and you got the tax roll going.
So what?
If they didn't choose to annex, we can bill them when we go put out fires. I haven't billed on a fire in a long time. We just set an amount of donations of cash of $100. We had a donation of $1,100 a couple of years ago. We haven't had many cash donations since then. They use a transfer from other funds just to keep that open in case we want to bring some money out of the equipment reserve fund or a contingency fund to, if we had to, because of some emergency. Sale of assets was the previous Mangrum thing before we changed this last year, so that's going to carry off and go off of this side of the chart. And grants was also where we used to record grants. So that's gonna be 0, and that's gonna go off the chart in 3 years. So a total other revenue is 1651, yeah.
Excuse me, you're saying you don't have to record grants like the FEMA grant?
No, but we have a grant fund now, so we don't record it in
Okay, so
other
it gets
revenue.
recorded elsewhere.
So that's what happened. The sale of assets and the grants were recorded elsewhere in the budget last year, so they're shown as
Okay.
So total general fund revenue from taxes and our money in the bank will be 144,914. That's what I came up with on the estimation. Starting down through the general fund. And you can, personnel services is showing all zeros. And what happened last year is we never paid Social Security because we don't have employees. We don't have any salaries anymore. We don't have, personal services got put down into professional services in the general fund. So that whole section will disappear once that 1,454 on industrial accident insurance. Unless someday we get personnel services and we hire somebody as an employee. Does that make sense? Okay. Start down with material and services then. Communications is the first one. Our county dispatch fee is going up 5% this year, they're estimating. We paid $1,128 this year. I budgeted $1,200 for it. Our battery, we use sodium hydroxide, or excuse me, help me out on that, NMIH. Is that sodium hydroxide? No, nickel hydride, nickel metal hydride. Batteries for our pagers, and that was the battery bill for that so far this year. And I budgeted in a repair of 4 pagers and clips for $300. Our pagers are $300, $400 items. We've been, they're in a varying stage of disrepair over the last couple of years. I had 4 of them repaired this year, and I would expect more to go in the future. Radio purchase, we budgeted for 1 radio this year. I didn't buy it. I never got around to it. We didn't really need it. I always keep one in there in case one of our radios breaks or doesn't function anymore. And then I also added 2 pagers. My plan, we talked about this at board meetings before, is to try to get to 20 people eventually. So I want to have 20 working pagers if we get to 20 people. Now, one thing that they're doing now is we have this cell phone dispatch with people that have cell phones. And eventually, I think the technology that's going to replace, there's all kinds of programs that will replace pagers. But at this time, the carriers, there's no, 90% of the time it works great. It comes as soon as the page comes. But the other 10% of the time, it'll show up 20 minutes later, or an hour later, or the next day, or something else. So I don't rely on it 100%. My carrier, AT&T, I don't know, just sometimes it doesn't work, you know?
He's done it then.
So we're still maintaining our
I'm in
pagers.
Old Valley and I don't get any signal.
So the total budget for the proposed is $2,340 for communications. Publications and legal notices. As your next justification sheet. Last year, I wish I gotta have like past ones. Oh, you got this. No, I don't have it broke down on the budget. Anyway, that was very close to what the, if that isn't what actually, the required publications, the budget meetings, I actually reduced that to the second budget meeting. Last year, that hit us for about $400 at the end of the year. So by not publishing the next meeting, we're saving $120. So, board elections, in the past, we've been billed between $500 and $800. I don't know what this election's gonna be. The recall election was billed at $500 or something. So I'm estimating $750 for the election bill. And that'll come, for this May's bill, it'll come in after our June board meetings, we'll be paying it in the next fiscal year. Anybody want anything about that?
No?
The next one's professional services. I've got legal services in at 2,000. This year so far, we've spent right around $1,000 on legals. Wait a second, 8, 640, 14, 15. We spent $1,780 so far on all this year, so I put 2,000 down. I don't know if we're gonna be spending the same amount next year or not. Can't ever tell.
Didn't Susan get paid out of this budget? This year?
This year she did, yes.
So that was
Last year.
65.
So that was part of the
Last year?
1040 over here. Yeah, she got paid out of last year's budget. Or the year we're in right now.
Yeah, this year.
We're doing for next year right now, so,
Right.
yeah, so she did. She got paid out of this year's. Contract with Wheeler County, is it $60 a month if he's doing the,
30,
30, if he's doing the,
well, it's 135 a quarter. So
so what's that come out to, 4,
it's like 37.50 or something. It's
okay,
like-
so we
it's really
can
weird.
reduce that if you want. Is he gonna do,
For the figure, I didn't argue the point with the way out.
Yeah, it's 135 a quarter.
will
So.
he be doing any, other custom work or anything?
He won't do our, we'll have to go to another accountant.
So that's
for
540.
Our end of the year stuff, when we do that. But that's just to do what he's doing now, you know. He'll upgrade our QuickBooks
Do
and
the quarterly
do the
report.
quarter reports and stuff like that.
For the price, so that'd be 135 a quarter is 540 a year.
Yes,
So we can drop 180 off of that if we want to.
I'd leave it just,
Or do you want to leave it at
Because-
17?
Because we're gonna
you
come
might,
up,
you might ask them to do something else
Okay.
now and then.
because he got that $100 or $150 to do the QuickBooks.
Yeah. So I would-
That would take care of that extra money.
Yeah.
Leave what?
The lawyer.
Yeah, that's legal services, 2,000 up here. Oh, you're on the next, on the next page here. You're 3 pages down, Jerry.
I'll go by what you have up here.
Which one is that? 6,001, 6,002, where's that just? So there's a justification sheet for each of these. Annual review and auditing, at this time, last year, I think we did ourselves, and we paid $40. This year, Share tried to bill us for $500, plus I know Susan Shepherd did a lot of work. I've heard in the past that we can get audits for $750. I'm not sure if we can or not. And that is, I put the 2,000 in there in case we have to go with if we get the FEMA grant, we're gonna have to do an official audit. Now, we're gonna have to go somewhere else besides Mr. Wheeler for that. So that adds up to $2,720 for Crawdad County. Administration, physician advisor, which was, we started paying last year, is $1,000 a year. And SDAO board training, I put in $500 in case we want to pull SDO down here to do some training. Most of it's free. I've been watching in your notices, there's some classes that they have, or some class that you, as a board member, says something's going on in Medford or somewhere else. They don't do too many local ones here. You could go down and attend it. So the total for that was $63.20. That was about a $4,000 drop from last year because of the accounting or auditing. The next part is insurance. Liability and property, SDAO estimated $6,500. And that's if we have the discount, so that's about, last year we paid $6,100 on with our full discount. Oh, we got an 8% discount, I think, because of our training and all the stuff we did. This year they got a little bit different rules on that, so we gotta get up on it. There's another class somebody from the board has to take. There's a couple other things we gotta do, so I got it posted on the board in there. Workers' comp, volunteer firefighter rates are projected to go up 17% this year. So Donna told me that I should provide $3,100 for that insurance. We also have a bid coming from SDAO. We do not have it yet. I asked her again last week for it, but she doesn't have it yet. When we initially talked about that, she said there's no way she could beat their mutual. We'll see what happens. If I get 3 additional firefighters, and we're going to be doing an aggressive campaign this summer with some posters and that kind of stuff. It averages $60 to $70 a firefighter on your.
It's not me.
Yay.
So that'd be another $210. We're starting this junior firefighter cadet program. We're estimating 6 people off the bat. The only cost that we're going to incur, there is no liability or property increase, but they're covered as volunteers. So it'd be $60 to $70 per cadet. So that would add another $420 to our workers' comp bill. Supplemental insurance, they recommended $1,440. The increase, they're talking about 7% this year. If you guys choose to continue to provide that. And fire and medcom is 62 each. I'm estimating at 1,000. Not all the firefighters sign up for it. And the ones that do. So that totals up to $12,762, which is a raise of right around $1,000 this year. Basically due to the increase in the liability and property insurance and the workers' comp. And when I said in a budget message, and we're gonna, in my budget, I'm planning on partially funding the junior firefighter program, at least for the first year. The whole idea eventually is that they would generate their own funds through donations and charging and that kind of stuff, selling goods or whatever. So that would be one of the costs, would be to add them to workers' comp. Justification for office. Anybody have any question on the insurance one? 1510. I got it's $100 less this year. Office equipment. I'm still. We got $400. This is all real similar to last year's justifications. Office furniture. I'm thinking about maybe replacing a couple of those nice brown chairs you're sitting in right there for your board members. The chairs that we have in the office right now, one of them's donated. I think the department brought the other one. Office supplies, that seems to be what we used so far this year. I can tell you, I've got a little note thing here that we've been using, so that Mr. Wheeler's going to get, but it's right around $400. One of our major expenses appears to be, we won't be buying checks next year, that's for sure, but toner's a big expense. They're $31 for the Canon, which is a heck of a deal. And then every time we do the other one, the color printer is $70, $80. Postage and mailing supplies. I left $100 in there. We have enough stamps, I think, still to last for a couple of years, especially if you want to do a mailer. And then library reference, standards, fire codes, business management. I had budgeted that last year. They're about $60 to $70 a code for codes that we used to, and we did not purchase any last year. If I get around to it, I'll purchase a couple this year that would be relevant to us. So that's $1,410 for office supplies. Questions on that? Dues and memberships is an increase from last year. I grossly underestimated some of the dues and memberships we paid. Number one was SDAO. I didn't know that we pay $300 to be a member of the Small Districts Association. I didn't know that. So on top of the insurance costs, we pay that every year to be a member. So I guess the benefits we get are training and being in that group. You have to be a member of that group to be able to get the insurance and all that kind of stuff. So So the National Volunteer Fire Council is $50. That I have to be in to put in for the ODF, the Department of Forestry grants, and the FEMA grant. The Oregon Ethics Commission, they send us that bill every year for $85 to the board. I don't know what that's all about, but we pay it every year. I guess you don't want one in case. But Oregon Fire Chiefs Association is $85. That gets us a discount. That's one of the factors that gets us a discount on our SDAO insurance. That's one of the things that gets us 2% off. So it actually,
Jersey Lily?
huh? They don't go to the Jersey Lily anymore. I can guarantee you. But that actually gets us about $130 off of our bill, so it actually, we make money by doing that. If you could believe that. It's like going to a sale, right? Making money. Oregon Volunteer Firefighters Association of Volunteer Firefighters in Oregon. They provide a lot of training opportunities and stuff. It's kind of a given to belong to it. If we belonged to it in the past, and we haven't belonged to it in the past. We did last year. It's a resource for us and a website. I like to keep on belonging to that one. Douglas County Fire Prevention Co-op, they're the ones, we participate in monthly meetings with them. They're the ones that sponsor the fire prevention down at Home Depot every year. We get, I don't know why there's stamps, mailers, and envelopes under that. That shouldn't be. That's from a previous thing. We also get some of our supplies from them after the Home Depot days and all that kind of stuff. And that's their sole funding, their organization's sole funding is just $100 per fire department in the county. This library reference was a carryover from the other one too, so let me make sure I'm adding this up right. I may not be, excuse me.
Yeah, you have $210 twice.
50 plus 3 million.
So firefighter, fire codes. And business.
So that's $750 though without that 210.
Okay.
I don't know where that came from.
So you wanna add
You're
that
just on the
to it?
first.
No, I don't want that. That was on the previous, how I know what happened is, last year when we did the budget justifications, I never got the dues membership sheet. So I copied this off of the previous sheet. So $750 is still the proper. Now, next one's vehicle operations. Last year we were at 10,290, and this year we're at 9,600. I reduced the gas. We had budgeted $2,000 for fuel last year. We used about 1,100. Of course, this year's been a really good deal for gasoline and fuel. So I'm hoping it doesn't go to $4. I'm budgeting it's going to stay around $3.50. Vehicle repairs, $500. This year we've spent, and I have that on my budget sheets at home. I wish I could tell you. However, oh, here we go. We're around $350 just on repairs this year. The brakes on the 31 stuff. That's a pretty low number for repair if something ever goes wrong. We've been pretty lucky so far. And I'm able to move some stuff around with maintenance and such if we need more. And of course, we got that nice contingency. If a transmission drops or something. Yes.
Steve, on the inventories that have been taken, I thought you mentioned at a recent board meeting that there may be certain repairs that are going to be needed soon on some of the equipment. Is that included in here, or am I misremembering?
Wasn't there a brake problem on one of them?
Well, we got the brakes. We're doing tires. I don't know about, I don't have any planned repairs. I don't have any planned repairs right
There's a
now.
headlight too.
Yeah, we've done the,
Okay.
we did the headlight.
Right.
Well, you've got a safety check and maintenance and repairs on 1080.
Yeah, that's the next one, yeah. I got that down under vehicle maintenance, so. But that's just something I keep going just for repairs in case we need them. This year was, when we do the safety maintenance check, if they find something needs to be fixed, this year was a brake can something else on 31. We had a radiator problem on that.
But that's long.
It is. It's been working so far. As long as we keep maintaining, we've been pretty darn lucky so far. Batteries, I keep one set a year, $300 for a set, and we've been using it every year. We have one battery. These things are all on battery minders out there, but we got 6 vehicles, well, 4 heavy vehicles, and they seem like they go through batteries. Maintenance and safety checks are the annual ones we've been doing through Southern Oregon Diesel. If somebody else gives us a better deal, we can go with them, but that's been working out really well. And this year, actually, it came out at only about $1,400, so, but that was just, everything was working good, there wasn't any problems, so we budgeted 2,000 for it last year, actually 2,700, I'm gonna try to keep it at 2,000. Brush 1080's got a separate, it goes to a separate place, and we have some manifold carburetor problems with it right now, and we're trying to get that done through Walker Brothers. Lester's looks at Walker Brothers and trying to give us a deal. If it's over $500, we get a bid to see what's going to cost us to fix that. I also put that in our VFA grant, the repair and maintenance of 1080, so whatever we spend, if we get the VFA grant, we'll get half of that back. Tires, the rest of the year we're finishing up, replacing the tires. 1030 and 1060, they don't wear out because of mileage, they wear out because of age, and that's just endemic of our fire service here. So the tire guys recommend 10 years, NFPA recommends 7 years, somebody else recommends 8 years. 1060s are more than 10 years old. 1030 was manufactured in 2006, so it's 9 years old right now, going on 10. So we replaced the front tires on both those units this year, so I'm going to start replacing the back tires on them next year. We're kind of interested to see with 1060, because they say they dry out from the inside out, and that makes them more prone to blowing out. I've had an old motorhome that sat for years, and I went out and lost every tire on it when I took a trip, but as we pull 1060s off especially, we're going to see exactly what they do look like inside. I'd really like to see. They've been on there a long time.
Well, we've replaced 2 of those that have had separations already.
Right, they have that separations, you're right.
I don't know if it applies to your equipment here, but on cars, they often recommend rotating the tires. Does that get done with the trucks or not?
On 1030, that it has different tires, it has super singles on the front and duals on the back, so no.
So that can
And we're not putting a lot of miles on them. Again, it's a age. And they're sitting, and the weight too, they're sitting on here. I put additional repair replace 350 in case we have some flats or not. We've got a pretty good arrangement right now with Industrial Tire where he has been doing our tire repairs and maintenance as long as the tire's repairable for nothing. So if they can keep on doing that, I'm going for it. So that's vehicle. Facility maintenance and repairs, the next one. I've been budgeting $400 a year for door maintenance and roll-up. We've had some miscellaneous rollers and stuff go great. This year, they did the door maintenance just 2 weeks ago, was it?
Yeah.
Bunnell. There was nothing wrong, and he came out and spent a couple hours and didn't charge us. That was his donation, since he lives here in the community. So we're gonna keep doing that as much as we can. But if something's broken, he charges us for parts. If we lose a big spring or something up there, that's gonna cost us. I have $100 down for miscellaneous plumbing. Paint supplies, garbage bags, $100 a year, and paint and maintenance of $60 a year. The flagpole spotlight, I've been putting the LED lights up there, they're $30 a piece. They're supposed to last 22 years. Hopefully it won't break this year. I can tell you, I've been looking at, we we'll talk about a little bit later on the electric bill, of, we paid $2,100 off the front, and so far this year, we're right about $1,100, $1,200. I estimate we're only gonna, I lowered that this year. And you can see the exact time that we switched to LED light bulbs on that flagpole and the fuel island. Because we used to have a 500 watt halogen light out there, and now we're using about 11 watts. And it dropped our.
For more power, more light.
It's on a timer, it's running 12 hours a day. It dropped our electric use in half. And if we go to a LED on the, right, I'm turning off the lights at the fuel island right now. It's a 250 watt. We only turn them on when we use it. And I'm gonna go to LED out there too, with a containment, like a proper light for a fuel island. And,
Where do you get your bulbs?
batteries plus. We haven't counted them. Herbicide weed control, I have down $90, unless we can get the county to do it again. $90 gets you a nice roundup in Buccaneer or Crossbow. Insect control, we just signed that contract, it's $65 a quarter, I believe. It's right around $275. He came out, by the way, he's already been out for his first visit last
And
week.
instant?
Yeah, Exodus, nice guy. And backflow check, we get hit every year. Popeyes does it for us. The state or the county sends it out. It's $45. I got 50 down in case. Annual fire extinguishers have been running right around $200. We added one more extinguisher out there that we needed in the garage, so it's going to be a little more. Eye wash station, we're now changing the water every 6 months. It should have been done before. So that comes from Galls, and that's what it costs when you buy it. ADA evaluation and repair, we've been looking, we started this a year or two ago, and the initial, talking with Jancy from SDAO, or their workers' comp and ADA guy, the first thing you've got to do is show progress. So the first progress we made was we did the survey, so that's a big step.
Door handles.
Yeah, and the second step is to evaluate the safety thing. So we evaluate, we measured out the doors to see which ones are legal and all that stuff. We got door handles, I got a list of it. I've been planning on doing the doors. I don't have accounts to anybody that we have door stuff, but someday I just gotta go down and buy them. I'm kinda getting tired to,
Garrison's will make it deal.
yeah, if we get that card, the door handles that I've been pricing on, it's less than $150 maybe. A couple of them don't even have to have locks on them, because we have a fumble. The repair, one other thing we plan on doing is doing some work in the bathroom. That bathroom is broken up in 2 stalls. Well, we took a look at it. We can move the divider out, make that one giant stall. We have one big door that a wheelchair could fit through, and then we're going to replace the toilet with a taller toilet.
And the sink. Has to
And the
come
sink.
down.
Okay. So that's all stuff that can be done relatively inexpensive, and we're just going to keep working at that every year. I have other unforeseen repairs on the building.
Are you going, Steve, are you going to budget for a fire hydrant for the water coming into here? So you have a fire hydrant.
I have not budgeted for that yet, no. We had originally, we were talking about that as an offset to our meter selling. I did not budget for that this year, no, I didn't. That's a good point. What do
We
you
could
think?
save quite a bit of money on a monthly billing on water, just because we're gonna utilize a smaller meter rather than the 1.5 inch that we have presently. Why pay 90 when you can get it for 18?
Well, I haven't seen that happen yet, George, and when I
No, I
talked
know.
to,
I'm
I
not
talked to
saying-
Brad, he said that, I heard the estimates that meter was worth $10,000, he said there's no way that's worth $10,000. You have to get
Actually-
somebody to buy it.
The certificate, not the meter.
Yeah,
Actually, if you go to buy one now, they're 13,000.
okay. Well, just from talking with him, that wasn't gonna happen that way, but if we can work that out, that's a great idea. And if what we were planning on, if it was selling that for that price, that was a straight trade for a fire hydrant, basically.
But it will probably work out in about a 5-year period, where if you went ahead and paid for it right now and budgeted it, and without selling it, it would save just in savings in
You mean budget
5 to
for
6
an inch
years.
and a half, budget for a residential meter on this place?
Correct.
So
I have some
But-
issues on
but you-
budgeting for a residential meter.
But you could
for the size of
also
this
have
facility,
the
so.
fire hydrant here on the premises. You might wanna look at that.
Yeah, we have an inch and a half riser right now, but it's on our side of the meter, so
5
that's
gallons
an
an hour
add.
on the 3/4 inch. And then you're gonna push your trucks up.
You guys asked me way early, about 2 years ago, about switching to the residential meter here. I'm not really, especially if we're talking about bringing in washing facility and stuff, I'm not really hot on, it's a commercial facility, I don't know if a residential meter, it might. I don't know what the pressure is around here, we can check that out. Maybe we could have the water district come out and evaluate that for us.
Well, just because of the washer that you're gonna put in.
Just for other operations, we wash our vehicles out there, the trucks,
But
we
you
build vehicles.
could- if you have a fire hydrant, you can put a reducer plug in and just run off of that. And it'd be free as compared to what you're
Well,
now
that's not
paying for.
exactly free, because I have to account for all the water that we
Well,
use.
but still, you're not getting billed for it, you're getting it through the fire hydrant rather than, that's what all the other stations are doing.
That's not true, George.
That's what
I can check with Umpqua Water.
Well, I have a question on that. Aren't we considered a training facility, and would we want to make sure we have what we need to be a training facility?
Yeah, I'm not sure what the requirements are. That inch and a half is really, that enables us to top off our units while we're doing training. A fire hydrant here on the station would be a great idea. We do need to check on the water on that. I don't, bypassing their meter for our use on the facility other than training, I don't think they'd be too hot on that, but we'll see. If you think, we can check on that. Yeah.
Does the fire hydrant at the school still work?
Yes, it does. And we use that for filling. Earlier in the process, we were talking about selling our big meter. The money from that would buy a fire hydrant that would go on the station. It'd be nice to have a fire hydrant here. We could refill here instead of going down there in the middle of the night and come back and that kind of stuff. And for training, it'd be great.
To wash your trucks.
Well, only reason I brought it up, Steve, is to see if we could look at that and maybe get it in on this budget, period.
Okay. When we go into the capital stuff, we'll take a look at it and see what you guys want to do. That's your committee that, you guys need to discern that, not me. I know what I want this year. You guys know what you want. Let's see, what happened to that?
Utilities.
Okay, we're up to utilities. Utilities, compared to last year, is lower. And the reason I did that is because the electric bill has dropped. And our heating oil, we had some huge heating oils and bills in the past. And this year, we actually only used about $500. We had a pretty mild winter. And we've also dropped our thermostat out there to the lowest it can go, which is 45 degrees, so that's made a big difference. We had some $3,000 bills in the past when we were keeping the garage heated. And all we need to have it heated is above freezing. If on drill nights during the winter, we go out there, we crank it up. It's an industrial heater, you crank it up, it blows hotter out there. It takes a while to warm up.
Is that a special heating oil, or is that just like, is that the other
It's like
heaters that,
diesel.
is that what it is?
Diesel oil
Okay.
number 2, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
And the price is good right now also. The gas and electric, I dropped down a little bit. I think we're gonna be down around, what are we down there, 1,600? I think we're gonna be down around $1,600. We're gonna be at least 500 less than last year. And I think we can still do some saving on that.
What's the situation with internet service?
We, I mean, as far as being billed for them,
Are we charged any? I don't see it on here.
no, Douglas Fastnet, because they have equipment here at our facility that
Okay, that's what I thought, but shouldn't there be some indication? Because it's a utility service we're provided, and we have a zero charge currently for it.
So in case in the future,
It
and that
may-
could
it may
happen because
change.
they are changing, because they're bringing in fiber optic and,
Yeah, so that may change, and it may be, even if right now we're charged zero, it might be worthwhile to have it included.
Just for a line item.
so that comes out to 4270, I believe. Training, education, medical instruction, we used to budget for 12 a year. We've only been running about 7 a year because of CPR night and different other things we do where the instructor isn't. There is no cost for it, so I reduced that down. Educational tuition and fees, we have some state fire classes we used to participate in. We sent 2 or 3 firefighters to the fire school at Salem a couple years ago. Those classes are normally put on for free, but there's a lodging fee up there. I also put that on this year because on our VFA grant, that gives us more points if we have training. And if we get that grant, there'll be a 400, about half of that fee will be refunded. So
Is Carl Bolden still going to do training or not?
I have to talk to him. He's doing pretty well on his therapy right now, and I'm not even sure that he's gonna. If he's not going back to work, he may not be able to be.
Where are we budgeting for him?
So we'll be having. I'm budgeting for him right now.
Okay.
Right now, we've had so many medical hours this year that we're kind of sitting here for a month or two. In fact, one of our next medical classes is going to be an online Alzheimer class that they're offering to the fire service right now for free. So we're going to do that probably next month. The National Volunteer Fire Council has a bunch of online classes, safety officer and command. They charge by the person like $20 or $30. So rather than paying some big fees to go up or attend, we can do that online per person. So that was a couple that I identified that we could do this year. The EMT seminars, our 2 EMTs, it's really hard to keep up on your EMT, the CEUs they're required, the certified education units they're required to have. So we give them an opportunity. Lindsay took it up this year. Chris was able to make up his hours, where they can go to a one-day thing. She went down to Bedford this year. The tuition was $125, and they picked up like 8 units in one day, so it helps them keep their certification. Burn to learn expenses, LPG, that should be LPG, not LGP. 55 component class, 1 tank. We've been doing 1 tank per year. We're going to have a firefighter 1 class again starting up for our new guys. So we'll be doing that. This year, the fiberglass trailer that used to be at Winston has been taken over by the college. And they have a maintenance. It's a certified trailer that has a maintenance of about $8,000 a year. So they're asking the fire departments, north, central, and south, to split that fee up. They're using this fiberglass trailer. You can set fires in it. It's a self-contained, safe fire training experience, and you can set up all kinds of stuff, 2-story stuff, ventilation on the roofs, and all this stuff. It comes with an instructor, and it comes with the UCC truck driver school brings it out. It's a huge, I don't know if you guys ever seen it, it's a huge 5th wheel. It's sitting up at, I think right now it's sitting at Douglas County Yard out there all the time, because it's getting some repairs done. So that's a new expense for this year. And right now, for the next 3 months, it's going to be in this area, Central County. Glide's got it, so we're going to try to participate in that. It's a pretty valuable training experience. Very safe. CPR, EMS training. Our annual CPR has been running $450. If we have 3 more firefighters, I'm adding on $100 just in case we have to pay that tuition. Certification licenses, our 2 EMTs are $50 a year. We have 10 first responders now. They're on every other year, so there'll be 5 of them this year, 5 of them next year, and they'll rotate like that forever. Materials and supplies, I've never bought the bulbs and a spare filter and all that for this thing. Every time I turn it on, it says I gotta have this, gotta have that. So I do need to go buy those. And then I put in miscellaneous $200 of wood for outdoor props. We're still working on building a ladder prop out there and some other physical agility type props. It'll just be wood, bolts, that kind of stuff.
We had spoken about, since you use this a lot in training, weren't you going to budget for a new laptop?
Our current one's working good right now. I did not budget for one this year.
Well, because you said that some of the programs and stuff, I don't know, maybe Jerry can help you with that.
Our older Apple one it won't run PowerPoint or any kind of videos, but this one that we have right now is still running everything.
But I mean, is it gonna last for another year, or it should be
Yeah, it's
upgraded?
gonna last another year.
Okay.
If not, I'd give up something else for it.
Okay,
Steve,
all right.
I don't think this is the same one that Keith was trying to use for the
This is
training.
mine.
Oh, this is your personal
Yeah.
laptop?
Yeah.
Okay, so the one that Keith was trying to get on the internet with is the
That's the
district's
station's,
laptop,
right.
the station's laptop,
Right.
okay. And it does have Windows 7, which is good.
Okay. It's a 17-inch. It usually works pretty well. I'm not sure what happened with that. The passwords.
Yeah, it just wouldn't log into the internet. And we got the list of passwords and tried
Okay.
the administrative one and the guest one, neither one worked. And it
Might
didn't
have
work
to
on
have
Robert's
you
cell
wait.
phone. It didn't work on his cell phone either.
Okay. You might have to work your magic on it.
Who's
Yes,
doing
ma'am.
outdoor props?
What?
Who is doing your outdoor props?
We are.
You are.
Yeah.
There's another one.
Oh, yeah? Oh, yeah, he's a good woodworker.
Yeah, he went on.
ISTA first edition, our new training stuff that came from the state. The state's gone to ISTA, which is International Fire Service Training Association. I went to the 7th edition. Our current books are 3rd edition. They've changed and added a whole bunch of stuff. So I don't have any of the manuals. I've got the disc. So I'm gonna try to buy 2 manuals. They're $75 a piece. So that'll go into our library here. Personal protective equipment, we're just keeping a small amount of gloves per year, depending on the size. 2 flash hoods. Flash hoods seem to be something to go through pretty fast. They're hard to keep them clean and undamaged. So this is another cost that I'm gonna see with our junior firefighters, is the 4 pair of gloves and the 4 shirts. What we're planning on doing, nobody can afford, we're looking at donated turnouts and equipment from Roseburg. They've already contacted them and a couple other people. But their shirt for training out here, their uniform is gonna be a pair of wildland gloves, because those are fairly inexpensive, and a wildland shirt. Now, I have a whole inventory of old wildland shirts up there and helmets that we can use, but some of these kids are gonna be of a smaller size than what we have stocked, so I'm planning on buying 4 smalls once we inventory everything and see what we need. Batteries, that's what we're running per year. Our batteries die every 3 months on our Scots, and that's just part of, they got a computer inside them and everything else for heads up. There's a 9-volt and 2 double A's in each one. We had, if you guys remember, we had that big box of double A's in there that came out of Duracell a few years back when they gave them to fire departments all over the country. We're all out of 9 volts in there. I've been buying those, and we're getting there on the double A's.
They don't give them out anymore?
No.
Is it not advisable to use rechargeable batteries?
We use what the factory says. That's all I can tell you, Jerry. They tell us what to buy. PP inspection and maintenance and washing, we worked out that deal with Doug too, where it's about $165 a year for I got a miscellaneous repair of PP in case we rip something, tear something, that can be patched. We added water rescue equipment this year. We have no water rescue equipment. We're one of the only departments that don't. I'm trying to go low by just having PFDs, life vests, personal flotation, and throw bags. We are not a water rescue team, but these 4 things are what you would use for what they call on base or shore rescue. Anybody that gets near the water, like say in the winter time, flood time, would have a life vest on them, and also we would have a life vest that we could throw out to somebody if they were in a car or something else. So that was our basic entry into the water rescue world. I'm not in any way, I was certified in that down in California. There's no way to keep up the maintenance on everything. And I don't want, we don't have people that, it's not worth the risk. But it's worth, you don't want to be standing there on shore doing nothing also, I think that is. Going down Lookingglass Road there in the middle of winter, I just marvel that we don't have more cars in that river. I don't know what your creek looks like up there in the middle of winter, but
Like the river.
our stretch is bank to bank. I don't know why nobody drives off there.
Maybe they have.
And we never know. They're down at Larry's house somewhere.
We had to come up as high as the barn during flood seasons, and it looks like as wide as the empall, and it
Yeah.
stayed that way for sometimes a week. It's pretty bad.
I fell over fences.
6011 is fire equipment supplies. Now, we normally try to buy all our fire equipment out of the equipment reserve fund. I've been doing, our grant type equipment has come out of equipment reserve fund, and stuff that we can't buy off the grant comes out of this fire equipment supplies. I've got just power and hand tools, $60 in premixed fuel. We're buying premixed fuel now for our chainsaws and all our power equipment, so we won't have the issues we've had in the past with old fuel. Hose and appliance repairs. If we have a damaged coupling or hose, there's the ability to cut it off and reapply the brass and stuff. Haven't had to do it, but I'm keeping it in there just rather than having to buy new hose. Rehab supplies we've been using. Last year was the first year we started budgeting for that. We're keeping water, Gatorade, and some. Initially, the cons donated us some granola bars and that kind of stuff. So we've been keeping a small supply of them on our units in case we're out for long hours and that kind of stuff.
Steve, along that line, do you have supplies of blankets or anything, like wintertime, you're dealing with the motor vehicle accident, something into it?
We do have some that we've actually been able to get from donations in the past. I think we're pretty good on it. Let's see, miscellaneous traffic flares and fusees. We just had to buy a box for $150. We used to be able to steal them from the sheriffs on every call. They've gotten so expensive now, the sheriffs don't give them. That was the first thing one of our firefighters always do is head right for their trunk and grab all they could. And it's kind of, I'm new to this being up here in Oregon. Well, it's been 8 years now, but this traffic thing and flagger thing with the fire department, I've never heard of that before I came up here. We take over flagging duties in this area because there's not enough sheriffs. Down in California, when we had a wreck, we had 5 sheriffs. We had a flare pattern that went a mile each way and signs and flashing billboards and everything. Up here, you don't have that. You get one sheriff maybe in the middle of the night.
If you're lucky, and then they're calling the county to replace them.
We've been looking at some way to make this safer for our people. I have this scene light, it's LED. They're just bringing them out. There actually might be some lower prices this year. They're a rechargeable light. They put out the same light as about a 500 watt halogen. They come in a little kit about this big. They unfold, have about a 6-foot mast with an LED light. You can carry them out on the scene, out in the brush. They're unbelievable. 10 miles got 4 or 5 of them. I put in one, and the reason I'm doing it is for when we put out a flagger, we usually use 1080 or one of our smaller units with one flagger, and the other flagger gets stuck out in the dark way down at the other end. So my plan would be to have a scene light or something down there so the person's not stuck out there. And we'll be able to use that thing on calls and on other types of calls also.
How much are those?
They're around, right now they're around $900. They started out about $1,500 2 years ago, and they're, in fact, there's a brand new one coming out, I think it's gonna be down more around 500. These LED lights are, it's just amazing what they're doing. They're putting the 12-volt LEDs on the units now, as a work light instead of the 500-watt halogens. And they're running off a 12-volt, 3 or 4 volts in there, and they run off a regular electrical system, put out more light than a 500-watt halogen. So
You'll get burned.
yeah.
No heat.
Medical equipment supplies, gloves, blankets, cannulas, that's pretty much an absolute, dollar for dollar what we spent this year, right around $950. New trauma kit, for 1080, we had that budget for last year, did not get to it this year, mainly because we, put some of this medical into our, EMR training money, because that wasn't budgeted for. Dated medical supplies, we budgeted $100 of EpiPen last year. They come in a 2-pack, they're $500 now, they've gone up, and that's at Costco, and that's the cheapest you can get. AED pads, whenever we use a AED defibrillator, we have to replace them, so I keep that as a pending thing. This year, we replaced 1 set.
Steve,
Yeah.
can we ever get things like EpiPen and stuff through Dr. Peter?
They're, through the hospital is more expensive. Costco is the way, that's where everybody buys them.
Okay, so Dr. Peterson can't get us.
They can't get them, any cheaper than that. We'll keep on working on that. I wish there was an answer to that. They don't just give you that anymore. I have maintenance repair miscellaneous at $200. We did not have to repair anything this year, but we could. Our one AED, the one we had donated, when you use it, there's a battery discharge and a pad that comes stock with the recharging, so we have to fix it. Equipment testing and certification. I underestimated that one this year, that was for sure. We had 2810 before. Bench flow testing and annual testing of our SCBAs, our self-contained breathing apparatus, is that used to be $35 2 years ago, and it was $70 this year. So I added that this year. And miscellaneous repairs, usually when we bench flow test, we have 12 of them out there. A couple of them will have a bad diaphragm or something in it, so the parts for that this year were right around $198. It was on a warranty this year, but our SCBAs are now out of warranty. They're 2 generations old. There's nothing wrong with them as long as they keep passing the test. However, the issue in the future will be parts. Right now, there's a good parts supply. Over the next 3 or 4 years, we may not see them. The pending expense we're going to have with SCBAs is our air bottles. They have a 15-year service life. Those are 2007, right? So it's going to be 2021. So about 5 years from now, we'll be buying 24 air bottles. So that'll be those are, like Risa, you talked about that before. That'd be something, that's a FEMA type grant we can go for. I can keep getting it for 4 or 5 years and see if we can get them to buy it for us. Annual air test is running about $370 a year. And that includes the mailing from their end, but we have to mail it to them. So I put $400. The air compressor maintenance, I grossly underestimated that last year. It was $593 this year. And that's if we've been pretty lucky that we can arrange with other fire departments to catch them on a big loop. There's only 2 or 3 guys in the state that do it, so that way we split. Otherwise, we'd have to pay for his lodging, and it gets a lot more than $600. Vehicle pump testing, I budgeted $450. This year, we were actually able to, the one we used 2 years ago just sent us out a note saying it was going to be $450 or $400 a piece. Last year, we were able to get Hughes to come down out of Eugene. They did us, Riddle, Roseburg, and Glide, all at the Roseburg headquarters down there. We got them for $330 a piece, so we saved about $100 a unit. Hopefully, we can do that again this year. And the ladder test, there's a new OSHA ladder test now. The ladders get charged $5 by the foot for the test. They do a 1,250-pound stress test right in the middle of the ladder laid over to the post. Uniforms, $710. It's a little more expensive than last year. And I got one reason there. I got one uniform shirt in, just to keep one. We have a variety of sizes, but we don't always have these size. T-shirts, the 6x15, that's one more expense for our junior firefighters. We're planning on a 6 at a time. We're gonna buy them, we're planning on buying them one T-shirt, anything else they want, they're gonna pay for out of their own pocket. Ball hats I keep, and pullovers I keep 3, because I'm still looking for 20 firefighters, so. Badges and insignias, we're down to 2 badges left, so if we get more than 2 people, I'm gonna have to buy some badges. If we don't, then I'm not gonna buy any. Board shirts, I had some people ask about that. I think it's a good idea, you guys figure it out. I talked to Top This, the ones that make our t-shirts, they have our symbols embroidered that used to go on hats, where we can get you guys a pullover, tennis shirt or something, whatever they call those things, polo shirt with embroidery. You don't think so? For
No.
training or going anywhere?
No.
Okay, I don't have any problem with that, but I thought you guys might want to be some part.
No.
Does the entire board feel that way?
Well, I think if I want my own, I'll just give you the $45 or
Okay.
$90 and get.
I tell you what, then I'll set you guys up with what they have.
Mhm.
And it'd be actually pretty nice. We have our embroidery down there, and you could do that yourself. Okay, so take $225 off of it.
Yep.
What was that, 17? I'm not gonna, like last year Susan was sitting here changing the budget as it goes. I'm not gonna do that, because if I do that, I have to change the contingency fund down below and a lot of other things, so.
485.
Community safety's next one. Public education materials not available from the state fire marshal. We can get a lot of stuff online and just for the printing cost, but I had $50 last year. And fire prevention materials and supplies, we got a big donated bunch last year, and then we had bought a large load of them the year before. We've used those the last 2 years at school, and we're coming down to where we still have pencils, but most everything else is running low. We've been trying, you guys heard this deal last year, I'm trying to buy them stuff that they could use in the classroom, whether it's pencils, erasers, rulers. They got some really nice rulers we're looking at this year. They're about 80 or 90 cents a piece, but they're plastic, and they actually have millimeters on one side, inches. That's what we're trying to focus with a fire prevention message on it.
Want me to work on that?
Yeah, you can find those.
Okay.
I'll show you what we're looking at.
All right.
Miscellaneous goodwill, last year I think we had $50 in this. I bumped it up to 100 and our association, we, through our fundraising stuff, like for example, when Chief Cobb, we buy stuff and send it to him. I don't know if the board, as a board, if you guys want to send cards, flowers, anything to any specific thing. I was gonna put $100 in there, I don't know what you guys think. Huh?
That's fine.
Good idea.
Yeah.
Okay, capital outlay. I increased that a lot, there's a lot of things we've been talking about in the last few years, so, these are things I have identified, and if we can take them off, put them on, figure out what's important this year and not next year or whatever. We budgeted for that washing machine last year, we did not do it. If I get the plumbing going, we're gonna wanna buy one. Building improvements, we had a bid 2 years ago for $8,800 for a parking lot steel repair. At the last I heard, and I think you even looked up there, that we could get by year. There's a few areas out there that need to be repaired, and
Yeah, some alligator, some gatorade out there.
yeah.
Those should be dug.
they need to be dug out right now. His bid included, there's 2 or 3 areas he identified out there. Last year we had bid, we had about $1,400, $1,500 from the county. It was gonna provide us, if we had materials, they were gonna provide us a truck. Talking with the road crew guys, they're out here just a couple weeks, that's not gonna happen anymore. But if you know somebody in the, still, the county's not too hot with their budget going right now, that they're gonna be giving away stuff. So that was the bid I got from past. So that's one of the priorities we talked about before. Plumbing for the washroom, we were originally talking about taking that shower. I think that a commercial facility and a fire station needs to have a shower in case somebody gets exposed to something or whatever else. So I am putting that in as a plumber coming in here and bringing in, splitting the hot water lines off of our faucets in there, redoing something with that sink and making that a washroom tying into our drain system. So that's one of my priorities right there of all the things. If we can push out the parking lot for a year, that'd be great.
If we don't have to.
Yeah.
If you're talking about possibly using it for washing off hazardous material, doesn't something have to be done with the drainage?
Well, yeah, I'm not gonna.
You
Sure,
can't just
anybody
put it into the,
I mean, if we have somebody gets exposed to gasoline or something here, I'm gonna throw them in there and hose it down.
well,
But don't you
Or
need
it
to
goes
contain
deep on
drainage
outside.
if it's, you're
Well, it
washing
goes
off
into our
hazardous?
septic system, you're absolutely right.
you know,
But, I just think we need to keep our shower. I don't think we need to, have our shower. There's gonna be some reason to have that shower.
It's a good safety net. With regard to the parking lot, as a suggestion, if we could get the dig outs this year and hot patched, it's a really good idea to let that hot patch, once that's done, set for at least a year before you do your chip seal. Because otherwise the oils in the hot patch will leach.
So I
This is
could,
a mistake that even the county makes sometimes. You should not patch over a fresh dig out the first year.
But are you gonna chip seal the parking lot or seal coat it?
I'm looking at seal coat, the chip seal, there's some issues. It used to be, they used to use nice round little rocks, now they use a nickel mine crushed rock, right?
That's true.
And that's a problem with our hose and everything else we have out there.
The abrasion.
But I'm looking to seal coat it. Anyway, that's another option then.
Yeah, if we
Dropping
could
down.
do the dig outs one year and then do the seal coat the next year, I think you'd have a longer lasting product.
Well, we'll let the board, after we go through this all, it's a lot of money. We got a little money this year to do stuff, but we'll see. The next one is another one of my priorities, and it was something that was identified when SDAO came out, was electric reels. I think that's a long-term, something that should have been done a long time ago here at the county facility, but we have extension cords out there on the ground. And the initial bid I've got right now, the way they wired those garage doors out there, he's gonna have to pull more wire all the way back from the panel out there. It ended up being a little more, and it came out at right about $5,100. The one bid I've got so far, I'm gonna have some other people bid on it. And we have 20 amp service on each vehicle for their air compressors, and they have onboard air compressors and the battery miners and stuff, so it ends up being not the little electric reel you buy at co-op, but a commercial type one. He said those are $600 a piece. That was half the bill was just those reels. And then the last one was the parking lot drain system. I've gotten 2 bids on that so far. Actually, I was told today by the third guy that what they gave me the 2 bids are crazy because it's gonna cost a lot more than $7,200. So, I'm not sure what's happened over the years, but the parking lot settled, and normal rain, it flows out the back of the station. If we get a rain from the north, it comes in the station. And you can see the stains about right where Mark's sitting, where the water's come in, and makes its way into this room. We're trying to do it like us, doing the saw cutting and digging the ditch and having somebody come in and do the work or anywhere in between, but The other problem with that is the ditches that they've dug out there in the asphalt are a problem every time we walk out there. Somebody's gonna sprain their ankle or do something out there, it's crazy.
Does that water come in through any one door or?
The first 4 doors, you can look out there when you see it, where 60 is way down the end actually has a slope out. Everything's out, it's just about level. We measured it out a couple years ago with Luton, and there's only a 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch drop from the door out that far, about 10 feet.
So most of that water runs in off the asphalt up the concrete?
Right.
It's not just hitting
It
the
pools
asphalt
out
all
there, the stuff that comes down to the parking lot, there's a V out there about 12, 15 feet out, it goes that way. But anything that falls against the building or onto the aprons themselves comes in.
Can we just have somebody cut a V through there and asphalt and cut deeper as they go?
Well, you can see what you can see what we have out there. What we're looking at was doing a drain system where
Dig a hole in the ditch and then put the
dig a
metal.
ditch, put metal grates in front of each one. Actually, they're recommended because of the size of our trucks. Roseberry did 146 feet of straight grade. I don't see why I want that for, but
That's awfully expensive.
that's what I think. So, anyway, that's the first bid I got, and that's one of the, all 5 of those things are important to me in the future, is, I've spent the last 2 years kind of getting stuff where I wanted to be on procedures and people and equipment, and I think it's time to start working on the station a little bit. We've been putting a lot of money away through the saving of money we've done the last couple of years.
I'll just bring the bids.
So, so that's a lot on capital outlay. However, as you guys know, you guys approve everything more than $500, and this is just a plan. It's, every year, that's a plan. Equipment reserve fund. Our beginning balance, the estimate, right now we're sitting about $220,000 in the bank. Some of that money, when we get the,
Wheeler?
when we get Wheeler to finish up with our QuickBooks, there's about $4,000 this year that came out of the general fund. It should have came out of the reserve fund. So I'm estimating that check will be about $4,000. So we'll have a resource of about $316,000. For equipment purchase under the reserve fund, I've got 3 more wildland tees in case we get some. 1 pair of structural PPE boots I keep in there every year in case I get somebody with an odd size. We have a pretty good selection of sizes up there, but there's just a couple that are missing. I just recently put in a BFA grant, and this $6,112, the matching part of the BFA grant is the money that I've been spending each year on equipment. Last year it was $48.90. So even if we don't get the BFA grant total is $14,014, which means they'll reimburse half of that. And some of it comes out of a couple different accounts I can tell you about later. But that total is what I usually, so what happened last year, I didn't get the BFA grant, but that $4,902 is the money that is budgeted out of our equipment fund for equipment purchases. So what I did is I just reduced everything we asked for, I reduced it by half, or else didn't buy it if we didn't have enough money to do it. So that would be a 50% of the grant. And the stuff that's in there includes wildland pants, which we've never had, Nomex pants. And the rest of the stuff is outfitting, changing that brush truck to a structural attack rig, adding tools to it of the new rig we get, other than a couple training things on it. There's a couple things I have in there also. the fire shelter training, for example, those are, anything that has to do with training gets us more points with the BFA grant. And it's a thing that we can use for our training classes, to do it, deploy in a fire shelter. So, anyway, that's it. What I have in here also is if we don't get the FEMA grant this year, we still have the same problem. So I'm gonna have to either buy this truck or else submit for a FEMA grant and wait another year. So, what are you guys' thoughts on that?
We have the money.
That money, my opinion, the reserve fund, that's what it was paid for, right? Those vehicles and all that stuff, there's a tax levy for that. So 117,000 was the max, that was a full ride on the, FEMA grant. We can get that for a lot less, and there's other ways of doing it too. We can buy the chassis and have a slide and put on and have things built local and get that price down, but that's the max price on it. So,
That's, that's what the levy was for.
yeah.
We still get the grant?
If we get the grant, then this will be a moot point, and it'll be,
When do we know?
they'll start coming out in May, and then it actually dribbles out, it may dribble out into the next fiscal year anyway. And that, I actually have the grant in here too, because the money may come after July 1st. So then in that case, the grant fund that we have in this year's budget, that'll all be zeroed out because there'll be nothing in it. So I have it either way. Let's see, FEMA grant.
And 1080 will be surplused out? sold out?
If we get the FEMA grant, I have to remove it from service. But what I'm going to plan on doing is pulling the lights, selling off the slide-in Cascade will give us a good price for it, or else we'll put it up to auction or whatever. And using that as some sort of utility vehicle for our department. We don't have a runaround vehicle other than for our big trucks. That's my plan, because the thing's a nice little truck. It's not, it'd be worth it for as a utility vehicle. If we don't get the FEMA grant and we had to buy 80, the new one ourselves, I'd probably try to keep 80 in some spot or using it in some way, or selling it whole just to try to recoup some costs. We don't routinely need 2 different wildland vehicles. It's another small vehicle that works.
Go away.
It's just
I haven't even thought what we were gonna do if we didn't get the grant. I'm hoping for the grant. If we don't get the grant, we're gonna have.
I say when we get the grant.
Yeah.
When
When we get the grant, we're still gonna have 80 for a while anyway. Anything we buy is still 6 months off purchasing or building and everything else.
Alrighty.
Okay, so, we to the end here?
Yeah, we are.
9 o'clock, you just made it.
Oh, we are, okay. So then our next meeting would be just to correct, we had a couple corrections, right? And then, part of the next meeting would be to, if we have those corrections accepted, would be to declare the tax rate, which is 0.5077 And then if it's approved here, then it gets sent to the budget hearing, which will probably be our June meeting. So George, can you give me a copy of that? that you're holding there?
I can do that.
Is Robert going to be checking with Uncle
I
Robert?
will,
That's one of the tasks, so.
I'll make a copy for everyone tonight.
No.
I mean,
So we'll be back next week. I'll make the changes to the,
okay, so the next board, or the next budget meeting is actually May 4th at 7 PM here.
Next Monday.
okay, so that needs to get on this out here, and it needs to get on the website. And can you have like a similar, we need to make a modified agenda. I'm just saying, we're going to deliberate on the budget, so we'll deliberate on the amended budget, and then approval of the tax rate and approval of budget. That would be the
Steve,
agenda.
take care of that next
Okay.
week.
Is somebody going to be sending me a public notice on the website?
I can have a see if we have it tomorrow. How long does it take to get on the website?
Steve, were you gonna check on the email?
Did you get mine?
The same exact public.
Yep, yeah, I need to
notice,
check.
just change the date.
You said that.
It won't change, nothing else will change.
The wording of it wouldn't change other than the date?
Well, because we've already done half the stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but he sent it to me as a PDF, I believe, so.
Yeah, I'll send it to you.
Or, no, did you send it as a doc? Because I need to copy it, so if you send it to me as a document, it's easier for me to copy it off.
As long as I have my, this here, Jay, I can change the PDF, so.
I got,
We talked it over in my head, so.
I've got one other issue here before we leave, since the members of the board, this isn't a meeting, but our junior firefighter program, we'd like to ask the board to create an email, a junior firefighter, jrff@lookingglass.org email site. So that, and that will be forwarded to Tom and Lindsay, who will be our coordinators for it. Is that hard to do?
To create an email address?
Yeah.
Okay,
On our
so,
website? And what does the
well,
board
it
think
would
about
be
that?
email, so it would be something at lookingglassfire.org.
Yeah, JRFF, junior firefighter.
Yeah, and then to
Is that all
forward
right
it,
with you
whoever
guys?
you tell me to forward it
Can
to,
we
yeah,
talk
the
about that
board.
here tonight? I don't know.
It'll go to Tom and Lindsay?
Yeah, it'll be forwarded just like you do now.
What we're
So-
trying to do is keep it official, and that way if there's any problems, we have record within the fire department.
Fine with me.
I gotta tell you that,
Yeah, we can't vote on it, but we can
Right.
agree.
Yeah.
These guys took off on last year. We had a whole packet from the National Junior Firefighter thing through National Volunteer Fire Council. They had just about everything. So they Lookingglass-ized all the liability releases, all this other stuff. Started putting this stuff together. I visited some of the high schools around here, talking about notices. Shoot, before, they went down there today to the high school, and by this afternoon, we had 2
Yeah.
people already calling to join.
Oh, that's
And we're not even to that point yet, because we still got, so we're talking about the parents and everything else. There has to be liability releases, parent releases, and everything else. And then Wednesday, somehow the local Boy Scout district is on Roseburg's student emails, so they got it. So he's gonna come out, because they have some Explorer posts at other fire departments, but he just wants to look over and make sure that all of our legalities are all addressed and stuff. We're probably not gonna go with the Boy Scout program, it's gonna be just a junior firefighter cadet. But we might change our mind, it all depends on what he comes up with, so. In my budget message, I just wanted, this first year, it's probably gonna cost $800 to $1,000, I think, for protective gear that we may need, and the workers' comp to run this thing. And my plan is, and their plan is, that those kids will be doing the work, and that's how most of it goes, to fund themselves in the future. And use the donated gear. So, that's okay with them. How do we do that?
Okay,
I mean, they agree.
since the communications officer has not been communicating with my requests for updating the website, Robert,
Sorry.
okay, I'm sorry for interrupting, but can you, as president, take the responsibility?
I'm sorry.
I said, since the communications officer has not been responding to my request for updating the website for over a month now,
Okay.
can you or some other board member be assigned that responsibility?
To give you the approval? Absolutely.
To
because-
administrate the
because-
website, because otherwise we're kind of in a bind. Like I told you, the positions of the board members has been wrong for several
Correct,
months.
correct.
And needs to be
I'll
updated.
go ahead and send it to you, that's fine, not a problem.
Okay, and then permission also
I can tell you
to set up that
Fire
email
department.
address that they.
And what is that one, JR?
We'll talk about this later. This unit doesn't have 600 gallons of water in it because with the super singles, it can't hold that GVW.
Well, you said that's max, but you thought maybe 4.
We're just gonna pull up the specs, Steve, so
I
we do
will,
an equal
I will,
comparison.
but I can tell you that.
Okay, what's the JRF?
JRFF, junior firefighter. Yeah, Lookingglass Fire Battle Award. And then if he could forward it, I have 2 email addresses.
Write it down for
Okay,
me, we'll forward it.
You have those, Tom?
Oh, we gave
You gave it to me?
Okay.
Oh, gee.
Here's
Oh, it's probably right here somewhere.
So Steve, are you good?
Look at his desk.
I'm good, yeah.
Okay.
It's about to fall over.
Does the board have anything to say, either sides of the board? We're all one right now.
I'd like to thank all the community people for coming tonight.
Thank you very much, and thank you to the
The crowd.
budget committee that has volunteered their time. We really appreciate that. And with that, I will
you don't wear them.
I will entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor?
We're outside the meeting, I'll post the existing budget outside. I'll post the existing budget outside and I'll make the changes and have the changes posted.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Steve, for all your